Can you re-explain to me why you need this pass? Are you still disabled? The Disney daspass, known as DAS, is basically a nightmare. Both of these passes have flaws. One is probably better than the other. I'll have a lot of Karens or trolls in my comments and they'll be like, certain disabilities shouldn't qualify, or you should be very grateful that they're giving you this. So there is something called the Americans with Disability Act, also known as the ADA. And that says that persons with disabilities have to be given reasonable accommodations without charging them a financial cost to have this reasonable accommodation. And a reasonable accommodation would be to tell the person the wait time is 30 minutes, you cannot wait physically on the line, so go in a gift shop for 30 minutes and come back. That's a reasonable accommodation. And what the ADA says is that Disney or Universal has to give you that accommodation and that they cannot charge you a monetary amount for that accommodation. So when I have people in the comments, they'll be like, oh, look what they're doing for you, you know, they're so nice, and it's out of the good nature of their heart. No, it's not. They have to follow the ADA, Americans with Disability Act, and if they don't, and someone reports them to the ADA, they could be fined. It could be a very, very hefty fine. The other thing I see a lot in regards to that is that you will have people who are, in quote, applying to get their initial DAS pass or their universal access pass. And when they are applying, they will make very clear comments about how grateful they are to the theme park, fill in the blank, Universal, Disney, for giving them this pass, and they were just so grateful, and they were so worried that they wouldn't get it, and they're just so grateful, and on and on and on. When you are going to obtain, I'm going to say obtain instead of apply, for your assistance pass, and I'm going on the fact that you do have a disability, you need to be saying, when you go for your screening for it, I have an ADA approved disability. That changes the game completely. We're not saying, oh, Disney, Universal gods, will you please give me this assistance pass? It's no, I have an ADA approved disability, and you could say I have documentation even though they cannot look at it, but they'll never look at it due to, you know, medical laws and stuff like that. My point is, they're not giving you anything out of the goodness of their heart. If they could get away with not giving it to you, they would, because they don't want to lose money. The Disney DAS pass is a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Basically, I've had horrible experiences with it. I've had it where they ended up having to apologize because the cast member didn't want to renew it, or he pretended he renewed it. It was an awful experience. Basically, they didn't want to get reported to the ADA. So basically, the way the DAS pass works is that after about 60 days, you have to renew it. And this differs a little bit than Universal. When you go for renewal, basically your renewal with the Disney Attraction Pass is basically them asking you, are you still disabled? Can you explain to me why you are still disabled? So you have to go for a new screening. So every 60 days, you're not just saying, this is my reference number, this is my case number. No, what you're saying, you're getting back online with guest services, and you will say, I utilize the DAS pass and I need to renew. But what they're doing is they're not just giving you a new one. What they're saying is, they're going through the screening again. Can you re-explain to me, they will say, why you are disabled? Can you re-explain to me why you need this pass? So basically what they're saying is, are you still disabled? And you have to do this every 60 days. So if you lived up there, you would go through every 60 days being re-harassed. Are you still disabled? Why they are doing this, I believe personally they're doing this in order to discourage people with disabilities from using their DAS pass. And if they can do that effectively, maybe they could get you to buy and purchase a fast pass, or not to use it at all, or not to come at all. And it's certainly not right to be online every 60 days and be like, I want to re-explain to you what my disability is. The other thing you'll get with Karens and trolls is they will assume that if I'm a girl, so I'm going to talk from my perspective, they will assume a girl is young, thin, pretty, so therefore you're lying. You don't need a assistance pass. My assistance pass, I'm just going to put it very briefly, bathroom issues. We don't need to get into the details, but bathroom issues. It is an approved disability under the ADA. I do have medical documentation. And yes, to be quite honest, I would rather not have this disability and just wait on the line with everyone else and not have to be standing in a gift shop or a bathroom right before in order to try to get on a line. It's a big pain in the butt, no pun intended. They are both different passes. One is called the AAP, that's the Universal Studios one. It stands for, I think, Attraction Assistance Pass. And the one that's known as daspass at Disney World, I think is just like the Disability Access Pass, and people know it as DAS. So you have AAP and DAS. I've started to do content on theme parks, Disney World and Universal Studios, because I live so close to the parks, and who knows, maybe eventually I'll live up there. Feel like your current theme park vloggers, whether they're Universal primary vloggers or Disney World vloggers, I'm gonna be very honest, I feel like they're really fake. They're really fake, and they're not telling you the truth. They're not telling you how it is. And the reason for that is that I think that they hope that if they say only 100% good things about both of these theme parks, that they'll get incentives in the long run. So they feel, I think, these vloggers, that if they just praise them and worship them, never say a negative thing, that they hope that in the long run, maybe they'll get an incentive out of these theme parks, and that could be a free stay or, you know, early access to something that they'll be able to monetize and they'll be able to like profit off of. Obviously, the flaw to that, where they are very much so censoring what they're saying, is that they're not telling the viewer factual information. And if the primary person who watches their content is someone that either enjoys theme park content, or they themselves are eventually going to go to a theme park and want to know this information, they're not really going to be getting accurate information. And then when they go on their trip, they very well might have a negative experience, or be very disappointed, or be taken back by a negative thing that happens. And they're not really getting, the viewer, I think, honest, factual information from your current Disney Universal vloggers, again, because they're censoring what they're saying. They can't say one negative thing ever, even like something on the level of like something tastes bad, because then they may not get something free down the road. The Universal Pass is known as the Attraction Assistance Pass. This is what it looks like. This is the Attraction Assistance Pass, also known as the AAP, from Universal Studios. This is the Universal AAP, also known as the Attraction Assistance Pass. It looks like this. The Disney one is all like digital. It's through your Magic Band, which is a real pain in the butt, because I'll get into that in a second. The Disney one is through your Magic Band, and there's always a problem with finding a cast member who either has the little iPad that can communicate with it, or it doesn't work. That's been a major problem in the past. So this one, as long as you hold on to your card, you're in good shape. It has this barcode here, and they will scan that. It shows your name, how many are in your party, and the duration of your stay. In the event, this is just information on the past, and then on the back, the way it works is that, for example, I went on the trolley ride. That was in the Seuss Land. It says the arrival time was 1:48. The current wait time was 40 minutes, and they told me to come back at 2:13, and then I came back. And I ended up actually using this for one other ride, but it was shorter than 30 minutes or something like that, and the girl was very nice, and she just said just to go through the line, and that was the Cat in the Hat ride. That's like the Pooh ride. So those are the only two things I used it for. It's not to say that obviously people with disabilities don't, you know, go on all the rides. I am just someone who doesn't go on very many rides to begin with. Obviously there shouldn't be a rule like, oh, you shouldn't go on a lot of rides if you're using it. Oh, so it goes over that here. It says if the posted wait time is less than 30 minutes, you will be directed toward the appropriate queue. Okay, so she did what she was supposed to do. Just tell me to go through the express lane if it was less than 30 minutes, because obviously they can't say like your disability only kicks in at 30 minutes, not 10 minutes. You know, that's not how disabilities work. So this is it. I'll talk about the reason that this is better than Disney is that, unlike Disney, you can be screened for this on the phone. So you can do your screening for the Attraction Assistance Pass on the phone instead of going to customer service in person. So when I called up, I called customer services. I think I pressed a button that had to do for assistance, And I said to the girl on the phone, is it true that I can be screened on the phone? And she said yes. She was a little cold at first, but then I said to her, you know, I have an ADA, a disability. She went through the standard questions. Can you explain why you need it? I went through it with her. I said, I do have documentation in case you guys need it. She said that won't be necessary, blah, blah, blah. And she issued me a reference number. I took that reference number to customer service, and they gave me the attraction assistance pass. And unlike Disney, I will not be re-screened. That's the information that they told me on customer service. So unlike Disney, where every 60 days or so you're in front of the person and you're like, let me re-explain to you my disability, what you'll do with Universal is you will just present them your reference number when you need either A, you filled up all the little things and then they would have to give you a new one, or new trip. And they will just give you a new assistance pass. You're not going to be re-screened, unlike Disney, where Disney is like, are you still disabled? Are you sure? Okay, so there's some flaws to this. I mean, when you look at the bottom here of like the terms, it says this pass will not be replaced if lost or stolen. So if a disabled person is disabled and that contributes to them losing it, or they're mugged and they lose their purse and their belongings, which has this in it, you're not going to give them a new assistance pass. That sounds kind of problematic, and I'm assuming if, you know, someone did have that happen and the ADA found out, I'm sure that they would get a new pass. Okay, so yeah, keep in mind the ADA always when you're dealing with Universal or Disney World. Again, they're not doing you any favors. They have to adhere to the ADA, Americans with Disability Act, and they can't do whatever they want. I kind of wish this was digital in some way, because it ideally goes in your lanyard. The lanyard is, you know, very junk-like in itself. It breaks. It broke on my first day, the little thing on my lanyard. But this ideally is supposed to fit in there, and it gets kind of chunky in there. So it would be good if they figured out a way that when they're scanning your annual pass or your day pass or whatever it is, I have an annual pass, that it would coordinate to your AAP. Oh, I got screened on the phone. The guest services location that I went to pick up my annual pass as well as to pick up my attraction assistance pass, I went to the one in City Walk. And I don't know if it would have been a better experience at the park itself, probably, but I'm not gonna lie, the one at City Walk, it felt very ghetto, and it would have been very uncomfortable talking through this big glass window and screaming at this woman through the window about my stomach issues. That wouldn't have been pleasant, and you have people like right behind you, people aren't even spaced out, very overcrowded. And to be quite honest, the girl that attended to me in the pickup window, she was not the friendliest. So I really don't think, I really have this gut feeling that if I had gone through my initial screening with her instead of on the phone with the girl that was very nice, I think it would have involved, you know, calling over her superior and having them explain to her what a disability is, and then they would do the whole thing of we're sorry and we need better training and all that. So that was a situation that it was just, I got lucky doing it on the phone, and hopefully they continue that practice. But again, just in itself, if you had to just go based on one thing as to which is better, Universal's better, because it's really not acceptable that at Disney World, every 60 days, you're having someone re-traumatize you by having to re-explain every 60 days, essentially for the rest of your life. Are you still disabled? Can you explain to me why you're disabled? And it doesn't matter, you're online telling them, I utilize the daspass, I want to renew. That's fine, tell me why you're disabled. It's like, that doesn't seem okay. So I wanted to give you guys some honest information on the attraction assistance pass as well as the daspass at Disney, so that you have really honest information. Again, I feel like your current Universal vloggers, and there's some that are definitely, you know who I'm talking about, that are primary Universal vloggers. Really one specifically comes to mind, and then there's others that kind of bounce between the two parks, and then the others that are like all about Disney. I don't believe they're giving you factual information. They're hoping that in the long run they get some incentive or something like that, which in reality probably won't ever come. And if they say one thing like the food didn't taste good, or this particular candy bar wasn't for me, then immediately they're not gonna like you anymore. You have to be like on the floor fanning them with a fan. And that's not reasonable, and that's not really behind the idea of YouTube, which was called YouTube, about you, not I'm here to tell you to act as if I work for the theme park when you don't. So hope you guys enjoyed this honest information about the different assistance passes available, the AAP, as well as the Disney DasPass. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon in my next video, and bye.